Let's get a quick take on the successful fundraising effort for the $10,000 needed to add a portrait of President Donald Trump in the state capitol's presidential gallery. The effort came after a prankster placed a portrait of Vladimir Putin in the vacant space. Patty Calhoun from Westward, I had to admit, I'm no art critic, but the portrait of Vladimir Putin really wasn't bad. What'd you think?
Well, I think it was a good placeholder for him. It was funny that people didn't really realize they had to raise the money for it. They probably were too busy worrying about raising the money for their own campaigns. But I would like to suggest they hire Kenny B to do the portrait.
I would donate to a fundraising effort for that. I think that's a fantastic idea. David Kopel from the Independence Institute and DU Law School. I wasn't even aware the state capitol had a presidential gallery, let alone a vacancy for a current president. Was that a surprise to you?
Lots of galleries. There's a gallery of attorneys general throughout throughout state history, including the great Charles Toll, among others. But what I think is we need a compromise where you put up the portrait of the president and the portrait of his favorite foreign leader. So you could have the Trump and the Putin portrait. And I agree the Putin portrait was well executed. So with Reagan, you'd have a Margaret Thatcher portrait. For the President George W. Bush, you'd put Prince Bandar from Saudi Arabia. For President Clinton, you could put the Emir of Qatar, and then everybody can be included.
I like that.
And if Bernie wins, we'll put up in 2020, then we'll have a Lenin portrait.
At least we're trying to do something on an equal basis. I like that, David. Eric Sonderman, political analyst. Senate President Kevin Grantham looks like he led the fundraising effort, led it pretty successfully, pretty quickly. A good move by Senate President Grantham.
Oh, sure. What better way to show your Republican bona fides, man of the people, than to raise money for a portrait of our great president? I thought the Putin portrait, I thought, as practical jokes go, I thought it was well done, well executed. There had to be some collusion involved in getting it up there. So,
Eric, there has been no collusion.
There was collusion involved in this case, I guarantee you.
Greg Silverman, attorney with Silverman & Olivas, and a talk show host on KNUS 710 KNUS every Saturday morning. 36 hours. All it took was to raise the money for this portrait. A pretty impressive timing. What'd you think of the whole presidential gallery kerfuffle?
Well, it was quite a glaring absence. I was in the Capitol for the Steve Lebsack hearing, and that's a prominent display, the Gallery of Presidents. And even during the Lebsack hearing, it's already been over a year since Donald Trump was president. So come on, I should have said something because it's our building, but I felt like it really wasn't my place. But what about the people who work there every day, like Grantham or, the state officials, the governor? And what about the recently deposed state historian, Patty Limerick? Should she have been on top of it? By the way, she's going to be my guest at 9:20 tomorrow morning, and I will ask her. It's funny because, Trump's not popular, and he won't be till this Mueller Putin monkey gets off of his back. And his attorney, Rudy Giuliani, said this week, put up or shut up, and that's the deal with the portrait, too. Put it up and shut up.
A talk show segue in the middle Colorado Inside Out. I'm not sure if that's a premiere, but very well executed, Greg. Well done.